the more elemental and demanding question, who am I? What is my nature? At the Oracle of Delphi, know thyself. One of the 3 prescriptions at the Oracle of Delphi. Know thyself. Know who you are. Who are you? You're like, oh, think about the Who song. Who are you? Right? You're like, how do you go about answering that question? That's what you're wondering. How do I stare at my navel? Do I smoke pot? Like cheeseburger? Let me give you another one. Discernment. I'm going to describe a process called discernment that comes out of the Christian monastic tradition. Discernment. First, quieting. Quieting your environment, your body, your mind, your heart, your soul. Quieting societal expectations that say, this is what you should do. That's how you should act. This is the right kind of career path. These are the jobs that are worth doing. This is the education you need. This is what makes you a valuable person. Quiet all of that. Let go of all of those expectations. Quiet the influences that your friends have, that your family has, that your religious background has, that your parents have, that you've had on yourself. Let go of all of those expectations. Clean the slate. Let go of all of that. Having let go of all of that, second step, listen. Listen to your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, yourself in time, your space, your hopes. Listen to who have been people that you've admired. Why did you admire them? If I talk about Martin Luther King, there are probably 80 different variations on why you might admire somebody like that. If I talk about Steve Jobs, there might be 80 different reasons that you would... It tells you something about you when you pay attention to the people that you admire and what it is that you admire in them. Right? If you admire Steve Jobs' entrepreneurship, that's informative. If you admire his creativity, that's informative. If you admire his strategic use of rage and anger, that's informative. Right? Pay attention to what it is that you can learn from your role models, not simply by what their name is, but what it tells you about you and what you're attracted to. Think about the jobs you've had. What have you loved in those jobs? What were the jobs that you went to early in the morning, even when you were tired, and were excited about? What were the classes that you went to, and you were thrilled even if they were challenging? Who were the friends that you developed, that you cared about the most, even when they were difficult? What does that tell you about you? It tells you about your values. It tells you about the things that you care about. It tells you about maybe your skills, the jobs that you really enjoy, the things that you were passionate about. Having listened to your environment, to the people you admire, your culture, your faith, then, and doing this as a brainstorming process, right? You can see the 7 steps method coming forth in this. Then start to work towards an induction of a mission statement in that. Then do the things that you think are your truth. As a provisional truth, as a beta version of what you think your mission is. If you think your mission is to work for a nonprofit organization, give it a try. See how does that work. If you think you want to go to law school, a few of you still do. Come talk to me. But if you think that's your thing, then try it out. Find a way of doing that in a way that's not going to overcommit you. Try, quiet, listen, and do. This is a 3-part iterative. Once you start doing it, once you're working at the law firm, let go of your expectations. Listen to what is exciting you or not exciting you in that thing. And then try something a little bit different. This is an iterative process of discernment to find out what your mission is. Your mission statement. Many of the highest callings lead a person to loss, suffering, and death. Some of your missions may put you in a position of sacrificing treasure, sacrificing friendships, sacrificing relationships, sacrificing your health. Some missions are worth that. There are things worth dying for. There are things worth suffering for. There are things worth taking a lower salary for. What are those things for you? You can survive any what if there's a why. This is a quote, I think it's from Nietzsche, but then reiterated by Viktor Frankl, a concentration camp survivor. While Viktor Frankl was in the concentration camps as a psychologist, he observed that some people, very young and healthy people, died within days of getting there. And some people, old, decrepit, unhealthy, nonetheless walked out of that camp with him. What was the difference? The difference is there was a why. They could survive any what if there was a why. There was a reason that they wanted to keep living. There was something that was worth pursuing, even in that suffering. Identifying your mission is going to entail a very long process of discernment. If you hand me your mission statement tomorrow, I will probably giggle. I think this is a process that's going to take you probably 10 years. By age, if you're 20, by age 30, aim to have a draft. My mission statement is a paragraph long. It has 5 components to it. It took me 2 years to write. Because every word in it has meaning. When I altered it, I made a slight alteration to it a few years ago. I took out my mission statement used to say, I want to enable my students to learn joyfully, read carefully, think clearly, and write well. A few years ago, I had the realization that I needed to take out the want to because I was always feeling guilty that I wasn't doing enough. And I realized, you know what? I do enable my students to learn joyfully, read carefully, think clearly, and write well. I do. That's not just, sometimes I do it something more or less, but it's not just about, it's not a statement of teleology, about ends. It's a statement about ontology, about being. The nature of my being is that I enable my students to learn joyfully, read carefully, think clearly, and write well. That is who I was when I was younger, as a little kid, teaching things to my brother. That's, I think, who I'm going to be when I'm 80. This is a statement about me that's not going to change when I leave UCSD. It's not going to change if I shift careers. It's not going to change in any circumstance, because it's about who I am. And that's the more important question. When you have identified your goals for each role in your life, the payoff is tremendous. You'll develop expertise. You'll develop excellence. You'll live in flow. You'll live joyfully. You'll have an influence. Many of you are concerned with thousands of things in the world. But your sphere of influence is very small. If you find your mission, you're going to be able to increase that zone of influence bigger and bigger. My friend Tom, who's the one who started the Giving Spirit in LA, this homeless ministry program, started with me and a handful of other people, like I think 10 people. We delivered bags of emergency supplies, survival kits to homeless people one Christmas, and we affected 30 people that year. Tom now delivers 1,500 bags every Christmas to help out homeless people. If you meet a homeless person in the LA area, there's a very good odds that you will see them with, in the year that I was doing, a black canvas bag. Like you would see them even a year later with carrying these bags around. Tom has had a massive impact on thousands of people because he found his mission and pursued it. So the question then is, what is your mission? We all now are connected in one way or another on Facebook. If you would like to friend me when you graduate, well, you can just actually, I don't even need to put that caveat in there. If you would like to friend me, friend me. Stay in contact with me. I am in contact with many of my students for years and years and years later. And I've mentioned a few of them to you that I've stayed in contact with for years. I would love to know how you're pursuing your mission. I would love to know how you're becoming more you, how you're developing your skills, how you're increasing your sphere of influence in the world, how you're finding the way of expressing yourself in ways that develops your skills and builds your levels of flow. So keep in touch.